It's hard to say if Alabama is going to have a new quarterback on Saturday, but it is easy to say we'll have predictions for this Saturday.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. Jimmy, it is that time of the week to get into predictions for this week's Alabama game. It just happens to be South Florida. You're next. That used to mean something. I don't know if it means anything right now. I do think Alabama will win this game. It's a 31-point spread for a reason. Prediction-wise, we're going to get into over-under on player totals here pretty soon. I just noticed that I misspelled unders on the thing, and I may have to correct that while you're doing something.
Well, let's just go over on all of them.
That's very, very well crafted. So predictions for this game, there's talk that it could be some bad weather. I don't know about bad weather, but just rainy weather. In a way, I think that's good. I think it forces Alabama into a run game, and maybe we can find something we've been missing. Maybe so. I mean, I feel like we've been perhaps forcing the pass a little bit. But at the same time, especially if we're going to have a new starter in Ty Buchner, then can I call him Ty Buchner? I've been doing that.
I mean, I like it better at Tyler just simply because it's so easy to confuse him and Ty Simpson.
Gotcha.
Here's a curveball is I think a lot of people that are close to Ty call him Tyler. So that further confuses things, doesn't it? But
wow. Yeah, you're not helping.
No. We could just go with the old fashioned, calling players by their last names, which I don't like, by the way. But Buchner and Simpson, I'm one of the few. I like first names for Alabama players. Ever explain this? We could do that a whole segment. Why I call players by their first name. I wasn't sure why I was doing it years ago. I was just always doing it. And I couldn't why do I do that? It annoys. Some people have told me it annoys them. And I sound like a jock sniffer or something. Hey, you're not personal friends with all these people. It's Buchner, it's Simpson, it's Milroe. It's not Jalen, Ty, and Tyler. And I thought, why am I stuck on calling? And then I figured it out. It's a lawyer trick that I learned years ago when I first started practicing law that lawyers use about making their witnesses likable in court. I spent so much of my time in divorce court. And of course, that's not a jury trial, it's with the judge. But you want your witness, your person to be likable. So it's a lawyer trick to hey, when your client is Tyler Buchner and he's on the witness stand, he's my client. I call him Tyler in front of the judge, in front of everybody in the courtroom. Hey, Tyler, because you like Tyler, Tyler. Tyler's a friendly guy. So, but when it's the other side, when it's the other party in the divorce, it was Mr. Buchner. Mr. Buchner or Mrs. Buchner. But I call my person by their first name and the other person by their. So I figured out that, subconsciously I've been doing that because that's my way to get everybody to like them. How's that long story?
I agree, Mr. Stein. Anyway, predictions-wise, I'm going to go ahead and give mine. I'm going to say, first of all, I'm going to say Tyler Buchner starts. And I'm going to say Alabama wins 45-10, therefore covering the spread, but somehow doesn't look super impressive covering a 32-point spread, 31-point spread, whatever it is. I'm going to go 45-10. I don't feel super confident about it. I'm also the same nitwit that picked Alabama 38-27 over Texas. So, yes, I am still that same guy.
Oh, I'd only picked Alabama to beat Texas by 3. So I did I missed by 13 myself because I had Alabama winning that game. I agree. I'm going to guess, like you, Luke, guessing that Tyler Buchner is the starting quarterback as we tape this show. And maybe by the time people hear it, maybe that'll be a thing. I don't know. But, yeah, I'm going to guess Buchner's the starter. I like Alabama winning this game 48-10. And I was shocked right when you said your score. I'm like, man, I put a lot of thought and actual pen to paper when I come up with my Alabama game scores. And I think 48-10. I think it's going to be more impressive than Luke thinks. I think it's going to be a game that's going to look a little like the Middle Tennessee game. I think Alabama's going to score early, often, and impressively. I think if Buchner plays, or if he doesn't, if it's Milroe, I think the Alabama quarterback will be very impressive and will carve up South Florida and will look good, and it will feel like the ship is righted, and there will be there was an overreaction in Middle Tennessee. I don't think there'll be an overreaction to South Florida because everybody saw the Texas loss. I think it'll be a little more muted and a little more, well, let's see. And I'll tell you right now, Luke, now here's the cold blanket. As of this exact moment, I might pick Alabama to not beat Ole Miss. I mean, I'm serious. I'm seriously considering that now, but I do want to see Alabama play Saturday and see Ole Miss play Georgia Tech on Saturday and then go from there. But 48-10, Alabama behind new starter Tyler Buchner. That's my prediction. But as we found out last week, Luke, our predictions can be wrong.
I'll give you another prediction. If Alabama loses to Ole Miss, the wheels will come off.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be a first. It'll be a first for Alabama to suffer 2 home losses, and you're not even out of September. That I don't think that even happened to Alabama. That didn't happen in 07. I mean, that would be a Saban first. And I'm not sitting here making – I don't think we've had 2 losses in September since at least Mike Shula.
Yeah. So, yeah, that would be a catastrophe.
I'm not sure Shula did, frankly. You know, we won a lot of games in September under him because we played these non-conference games. The losing didn't happen to October, November, generally.
Ooh, Jimmy, you're making my stomach queasy.
Well, I've not settled on that. I'm just saying that's how I feel. And part of it's a nod to Ole Miss and how they've looked. And part of it's a nod to Jackson Dart, who I think to this point, I did a ranking of quarterbacks this week in the league. To this point, Jackson Dart's the best quarterback in the SEC, in my opinion. Now, this point's super early, and everybody's playing a different schedule. But I'm nervous about Ole Miss. I also think they're a little better on defense. And boy, would Pete Golding celebrate long into the night if his defense beat Alabama next Saturday. And oof. I think that term oof was created just for that thought.
There's no doubt about it. All right, let me tell everybody about LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. All you got to do is go to LinkedIn Jobs, add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you are hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and who you'd like to ultimately hire. It's why small businesses rank LinkedIn Jobs the #1 delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to and helps you find them faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions may, and I bet they do, apply. All right, Jimmy, the next time we do a podcast, it'll be the postmortem on Alabama USF. But right now, we're going to talk a little over-under on players. I'm going to make these up on the fly. That's where you and I are Vikings. Doing things by the seat of our pants. All right. Over under. Passing yards for Alabama. Total. 270.
Under.
Okay, fair enough. I would probably lean under because of also the weather potential issue.
I think Alabama's gonna. Here's the thing. And this is what I was saying last week, and all of the people just jumping on Jalen Milroe. If Alabama doesn't run the ball better, Luke, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. It doesn't matter. You've got to run the ball better, or there's going to be more losses. I think you go to South Florida and you work on that. So just some extent, because without it, you just don't have it. Tyler Buchner, nor Ty Simpson, nor Dylan Lonergan is going to lead Alabama to Atlanta in the SEC championship, throwing the ball 40 times every week. Not going to happen. Absolutely won't. Zero chance.
So, knowing that, being armed with that information, Alabama, an Alabama running back will eclipse 80 yards. I'm not even going for 100. I'm going for 80. By the way, I know Jalen Milroe's got 92 yards, 92 or 94 yards total in the year total, 2 games. So 80 yards seems like I think I'm being generous here, but it seems like I'm suckering you in to bet the under, honestly.
You mean just suckering me in to bet the under or the over? Because I'm
No,
going to
the
go over.
under. No, I'm suckering you. I mean, it's like, honestly, when you see Texas is getting 7 points at Alabama, you're like, that is so low. I'm going to take Alabama. That's easy money. No, what they were doing is suckering you in.
I'm going to do a fun one, okay? And this is the opposite of what I planned to say right when you brought it up. How about this? I'm going to go over and say that Alabama does have a back over 100 yards in this game finally. We finally have a back with 100 yards in this game, and that back is Justice Haynes.
God. Oh, Jimmy.
I like that. And
Jimmy,
I'm predicting. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I was initially going to say, yes, Alabama will have a 100-yard back, and it's going to be Jase McClellan. That's what I was going to say. But, I thought to myself, it's been very few carries. He didn't even have a carry against Texas. I'm thinking he might have been banged up, or it might be a pass blocking issue, but I think we see a real dose of Justice Haynes this weekend.
Number one, while you were talking, your earpiece fell out, and that was hilarious.
I noticed.
And the people who are listening, they have no idea why I was laughing. His earpiece fell out, and I'll give Jimmy credit. He worked through it. He was a pro. But it was funny looking.
I get some practitice. I was on Gadsden TV earlier today, and the same thing happened. TV.
Do you mention Locked on Bama when you go on Gadsden TV, please?
No, well, they did. I don't think I don't get the same chance to plug. That's
this channel's never going to grow. Anyway.
But yeah, my earpiece fell out on TV. And I'm so amateur. I almost wanted to say live during the live, like, hey, I know we're live on TV, but my ear thing fell out. Do I put it back? What should I do, Mr. Professional Sportscaster? I still had the other one, so I could still hear.
All right. So the thing I love about what you're saying about Justice Haynes, and it goes back to what I said previously about the Texas game. Number one, if we were good, if assuming this quarterback change is made, I think this should have been done at the halftime. It should have been Georgia, Alabama first national championship game redux. It should have been put in a new quarterback, put in Justice Haynes, Jase McClellan and Roydell not getting it done. They're not getting you the hard yards. I'm not blaming them. I'm not faulting them, but you got to do something new. So I'm all for it. Look, I'm going to tell you what, people are going to think I'm crazy. I'm telling you right now, if I heard this, and I'm all for doing sort of the opposite, sitting Caden Proctor this game, sitting Darian Dalcourt, try something new. Say, here's what we're going to do, guys. We got to either light a fire under y'all or find the dudes that are better than y'all, one of the two. So I'm starting Buchner. I'm starting Justice Haynes. I'm starting somebody in lieu. I don't even know.
I don't put a ton, well, just based on what you just said, it's a good time to throw this in there. I don't put a ton of faith in these numbers, not a ton. I'm interested in them and I want to know them, but I don't put a ton of faith in them. Per Pro Football Focus, the offensive line that graded out best this weekend against Texas, Dalcourt.
That makes me wonder if somebody at Pro Football Focus has dyslexia. Like they got the numbers mixed up.
They did watch the game because they had Proctor pretty bad.
Okay.
They did. Proctor was low. Seth McLaughlin may have been lower than Proctor.
Okay.
And I did the rewatch. I watched a lot of the offensive line. It was bad across the board. It was bad across. There's not one offensive lineman that to me played well in the game. But the only one to my eye that got just physically beaten routinely was Proctor. I thought the others were bad, but it wasn't rated R squeamish bad, except for the left tackle.
Okay. So that's why, and again, I didn't mean to pick on Dalcourt. I mean, I kind of did mean to pick on Proctor, but, and again, I'm not saying they can never be good. I'm saying,
Yep.
what if this is the kind of thing that makes Proctor go, man, I got to get my mind right, or whatever. I got to do whatever
Right.
I can do to get better.
Kind of the
What,
send a message
exactly.
kind of thing. It's got to
Sit,
get better. It's got to be better than that.
sit McLaughlin, sit Jase Latham. Everybody's like, look, he's going in the first round. Our offensive line has not been good, y'all, and we need something.
Yeah. Latham's not going the first round. If that Texas tape's all he's got. I mean, he wasn't great either.
And so my point is, I just think we got to do something different. So let's do something different. Let's do it.
We got many games to improve. And again, I want to point out, you talked about making a quarterback change at halftime. One thing I point out, and it's so crazy because the game's just a couple of days ago, and now it's Wednesday, and I just finished the rewatch in terms of when we're taping this.
Thanks for ruining when we did our podcast.
we did. Well, this helps us when we're wrong about all our predictions. They're like, well, they did do it Wednesday.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I'm going on vacation. We don't normally do this, but I'm going on a vacation. No, what I was going to say is when you said make the change at halftime is 13-9. I know we hadn't scored a touchdown, and that's rare at Alabama, but it's 13-9. And going into the fourth quarter, Alabama was leading the game. We're leading. So Milroe helped get Alabama a lead. So the third quarter was actually successful for Alabama with the current lineup. So I think if you're going to make a change, maybe in the fourth quarter, but boy, that's a nice deep end of the pool. Hey, Tyler Buchner, I know you hadn't really played yet for Alabama, but we're down 2 touchdowns against Texas with 9 minutes left. Help us out. So I don't know that there was when I watched the rewatch, because I was asking myself, if I was going to make a change, when would I make it? There was never really a clear time for me. Maybe after that Milroe second, the picks, I call it the pick six. They returned it inside, right at the 5-yard line. I mean, it was inevitable they were going to score. Maybe after that, but he did lead the team down the field again and score again. So I don't know that there was a good time. South Florida, that's a good time.
Yep, South Florida is a good time to try a lot of new things. That's my point.
It is. It is. I like it.
So, all right. Well, we've sort of eaten up this segment, so I need to tell everybody now about FanDuel. And look, I love FanDuel. You'll love FanDuel. All you got to do is go check them out. Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Trust me, this is worth it. I love NFL Sunday Ticket. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy and to use, and you can bet on everything from spreads to player props to more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right, Jimmy. So looking around the SEC, this is a really sort of a college football schedule only a mother could love. It is not pretty. Again, it's so funny that we wait for college football for so long. Now, there have been some interesting games for sure, but notably Alabama, Texas. But these first few weeks have just not provided a ton of great contests. Where do you go here? Let's talk about the SEC game, I guess. Mm-hmm. LSU at Mississippi State. Mississippi State is a 9-point underdog at home. Am I crazy to think Mississippi State has a shot here? Because I'm not fully convinced the LSU against Grambling is the real LSU. At the same time, I'm not convinced they're as bad as they looked in that fourth quarter against Florida State either. But I feel like Mississippi State's got a shot here. I certainly wouldn't. I'm not going to call the upset, but I think it's going to be close.
That's exactly how I feel, Luke. I think LSU showed enough bad in that game against FSU to where if you're Mississippi State, you think you got a real chance here, and that in and of itself is going to help keep the game close. I think Mississippi State goes into the game believing that they can win, and with Will Rogers, they have the experienced quarterback. State's played better than I thought after 2 games, and I actually thought they might lose to Arizona. They pulled it out. So I'm with you. LSU wins, but it's tight, and I don't think LSU looks like an SEC West champion this weekend. I think they win at Mississippi State, but maybe kind of win ugly. Maybe it's LSU by 3 or 4.
Now, I'm going to tell you, this is a game Alabama watch because Look, if Mississippi State does cover by double digits at home, okay, you're going to feel a lot better about that game. But if they
Right.
do keep it close, or they do beat LSU, they play South Carolina maybe the next week before they play Alabama. So they'll have a shot to be undefeated, and those cowbells will be a ringing. I can promise you that. I've been there several times. It's not SEC, and I'm going to mostly stick to SEC games. But this game, this Colorado State game day is going to be there, which is weird because it's not a great game. The Fox Saturday kickoff show, or whatever the heck it's called, is going to be there. They're not even showing the game. That's bizarre. But their ratings were so good from the previous week. Apparently, they're going back. And there's something else is going to be there. Some other big thing is going to be there. It's just what Dion has done is bananas. And I say it again, because this article sort of got on my skin a little bit, where Philip Marshall was talking, an Auburn writer was talking, only the blood get all the love. Colorado knows marketing. Now Colorado is the hottest thing in college football, undisputed hottest program in college football. And you're getting all the love. And yes, they've won 2 games. But let me tell you what Colorado ain't: a blue blood. So they're getting all the love. I just found that interesting. So we don't have to go into that.
I do want to say that I think some people listening think too big a deal is being made of Colorado and what Dion's doing. And I think that's some people's reaction. And that's okay if that's how you feel that way. But I would ask those people that are unimpressed by Dion and think too much is being made of this and that this is getting too much attention. I ask you, if that's how you feel, name the last 3 Colorado head coaches. Name the last 3. You can't do it. You can't do it. I'm not sure you can name the last one.
I was going to say, name the last one.
Exactly.
I can't.
So that's all you need to know about what Dion's done for Colorado right there. You can't even name the last 3 guys. And I think, Mel Tucker's in there. Carl Dorrell was in there. And I'm not sure who the other one was. I'm just saying Dion has earned this, and but we'll see when Dion plays Oregon and Southern Cal after Colorado State.
Back to back, that's gonna be tough. And you would think game day would save that USC game for game day, but I mean, I guess they can go back or whatever. Okay, I wanted to say this one real quick. Western Kentucky and Ohio State. It's only interesting because I think Western Kentucky did beat South Florida.
They did.
Yeah,
correct.
So, Tennessee at Florida. Look, again, Tennessee 6.5 point favorite. They're begging you to take Tennessee, begging you, because whenever you see 6.5 point line, you're like, oh, all I got to do is win by a touchdown. That's scary, scary stuff.
It's a trap.
I'm going to call the upset. I'm going to say Florida wins unbelievably.
I love it. And there's no way that based on Tennessee hype and the way Florida played against Utah, there's no way anyone in their right mind should do what you just did, but I like it. I'm not predicting the upset. I'm not, but I will say I love Florida in those points. I think 6.5 will be too many. I think this will be a classic. I think if Tennessee breaks this streak and wins in Florida for the first time since 2003, it will be hard earned, maybe a field goal at the end. Winning on the road in the SEC is tough. I don't care how Florida looked. And frankly, Joe Milton to this point has struggled. He's, I think, last in the SEC in QBR or some important quarterback ranking.
2 more games we can talk about. Georgia Tech at Ole Miss. That's only interesting really because Ole Miss is playing Alabama the next week. Ole Miss is an 18-point favorite. I'm going to say Georgia Tech covers that number. Ole Miss probably wins by 13, 10, 14, whatever. But I think Georgia Tech covers. Haynes King didn't look bad against Louisville. He had a bad end of the game, but he didn't look bad. And then Wyoming at Texas. It's going to really make Alabama fans mad when Wyoming keeps that game relatively close. Texas is 29-point favorite. I bet you Wyoming covers.
Natural come down game. Couldn't agree more. I do an office pool sheet just like most everybody that listens to this broadcast does. And Wyoming was one of my first picks on the sheet. Like I'm picking Wyoming in those points. Here's how you find it. I'm not great at picking games, but here's a tip that I do have. And that's a group of 5 team that is better than the general public knows, and that's Wyoming. They beat Texas Tech in week 1. Texas Tech's not terrible at all, and Wyoming beat them. Texas is just you can't help but they're not going to play great back-to-back weeks after beating Alabama and Tuscaloosa. They'll probably beat up a little bit too. I like Wyoming to keep that close and Alabama fans to go, what? But that's just absolutely natural football stuff there. Wyoming keeps it. I would say Texas wins by 14-20. It won't. I'm just going to say off the top of my head, 34-20, something like that.
I'm right there with you. All right, buddy. We will talk after the game. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.